الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الله به الأمة وجاهد في سبيل ربه حتى أتاه اليقين اللهم اجزه عنا وعن والدينا وعن الإسلام والمسلمين خير ما جازيت به نبيا عن قومه ورسولا عن أمته اللهم احينا على سنته وتوفنا على ملته وأوردنا حوضه واسقنا بيده الشريفة شربة هنيئة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا اللهم اجمع بيننا وبينه كما آمنا به ولم نره ولا تفرق بيننا وبينه حتى تدخلنا مدخله ثم أما بعد. Today inshallah we'll be talking about the defect of the tongue and the so many mistakes or sins that we commit only by our tongue. We'll talk about the seriousness of the tongue and how we should not misuse it. Imam Ghazali began his discussion by, like a philosopher, he likes to classify things. So he said, just to show how dangerous it is to speak, to start with, he said that you can classify any talk into 4 categories. One is beneficial. It's purely beneficial. The other one is purely bad, like lying and cursing and so on. 100% good, 100% bad. The third is mixed of beneficial and harmful talk. And the last one is the useless talk. That's not harmful and not beneficial. Are you following with me so far? So Imam Ghazali said, of course, that purely bad and harmful talk is haram. We should not say it at all. And the talk that is mixed with harmful and useful is also to be avoided. And the kind of talk that is useless, that's not harmful and not useful, is laghu. Laghu means useless, you know. And some of them is halal, is not haram. Talk about your trip, what did you do, and whom you meet, and so on. That's like talk that if you don't say, Imam Ghazali said, if you do not say, that's not a sin, right? So you don't have to say it, but sometimes, we talk about things. And Rasulullah used to talk with his Sahaba, you'll be surprised. He talk about things, like price of the camels and kind of sports they play at that time, and the incident happened, and the Prophet talked to them about these things. It's not only. And then he said the fourth one is the purely good talk. So he said the first 3, you should stay out of them. Especially the very harmful and the harmful and useful. The laghu, he said some laghu is okay, although you are losing your time, but some is okay and some is not okay. We keep talking so much about insignificant things. Then he said the 4th one is the useful talk, like what we're doing now. What he said, even this 4th one, sometimes is mixed with showing off. Could be, right? So when you say good words, it's good, but in the eyes of Allah it could be not that good, because you're saying it to show how smart you are, how strong your memory, or to ask a question to challenge the speaker, or to say something that for showing off. And he said even the 1/4 of all these kinds of speech is also could be harmful, because this shirk or as he called shirk al-asghar, it's more subtle and hidden, like the steps of the ants. So, and that's why he said, that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has been given hikmah and jawami' al-kalam, if you look at what he said in 2 words, it will explain all these classifications Imam Ghazali talks about. So Imam Ghazali talked about all these things, and then he said, and now think about what Rasulullah said. Man samata naja. That's it. Man samata means he who remains silent. Naja. You know what naja means? Najat. Najat. What's najat? Safety. Right? Who remains silent will be safe. Because most of the talk is harmful. It's useless. Right? So it's always good to remain silent. And in the hadith, من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. This is Bukhari. He who believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment should say what's good or remain silent. But it's not that easy to remain silent. That's the problem. It's very difficult to force yourself to remain silent. Sometimes, of course, you have to speak. In some situations, you have to testify, then you have to speak. Right? You have to guide someone or discipline your children as enjoining good and forbidding evil, you have to speak. But you say what is good or remain silent. So our talk today is about this idea that it's better not to speak. Speaking is, we should speak only when there's a need to speak. And when we speak, we should think before we speak. Because some people just speak and then think about what they said and regret what they said. And that's the difference between wisdom or wise people and, I would say, unwise people. Wise people, al-aqilu, aqluhu, qabla lisanihi. So the idea comes to his mind first and then goes to the tongue. But the unwise people, his mind is behind his tongue. So his tongue first. Whatever he wants to say, just he says it, and then, what did I say? Oh, how foolish I was. That's why we don't regret remaining silent. We usually regret saying something. We may sometimes regret we did not speak, but even if you regret you did not speak, it's not like regretting saying. Because when you say a word, you don't own it anymore. You own it as long as you have it. But once you say it, you cannot bring it back. You don't own it. That's why wise people are always silent. That's why when they talk about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, he does not speak unless there's a need, and when he speaks, to the point. And he used to joke with his Sahaba radiallahu anhum, يمازحهم ولكن لا يقول إلا حقا. He says nothing but the truth, even when he jokes. إذا رأيتم الرجل صموتا وقورا فادنوا منه. When you see a person who always silent, right, then come close from him, because he's being given a hikmah, wisdom. In the hadith, الصمت حكم وقليل فاعله. Samt is part of wisdom, and very few people who practice this. Like when we fast in Ramadan from eating and drinking and intimate relations, we need to train our tongue to fast. It is prohibited, by the way, to spend the whole day not saying any words. That's not allowed in Islam, by the way. But by fasting, we can fast about saying unnecessary words. Unless it's dhikr from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reading Quran or reading useful books. It's kind of difficult not to text or to respond to phone calls or to make phone calls. Sometimes these phone calls, stay for a long time. In social gathering, everybody wants to show how smart he is, right? Everybody wants to say something. And very few people who practice this, which is something we need to work on. As we mentioned before, akhlaq can change. If you think you talk too much, you speak because everyone is speaking, I would look fool if I don't speak, I have to say something. And because of this, people say right and wrong, and they have to say anything. It's kind of shame if I remain silent, which is the opposite of what Rasulullah said. It's hikmah to remain silent. I was in a meeting in Pittsburgh, and 5, 6 people discussing many things, and everybody spoke. Everybody spoke, except one person. I didn't know him, and he listening very well. And I thought he has nothing to say. His listening meeting went on for half an hour, 45 minutes. Everybody is speaking. And then someone said, okay, what do you think? We want to hear from you. And he was choosing words very carefully. But when he spoke, he understands the matter better than anyone in the meeting. The same thing happened here in Detroit when we have a meeting talking about very sensitive issues, important stuff, and someone not speak at all. And then someone said, oh, we didn't hear from so and so, so why don't you speak? And when he spoke, you see hikmah coming out of his mouth. He knows everything. It's not because he has nothing to say. It's because he has this discipline. Listen, understand. You may agree or disagree with someone, but don't cut people off. Don't respond to everybody like we do most of the time. Right? Everybody wants to speak at the same time and cut the others off. And when someone says something, I have to say the opposite. I have to disagree because I have to debate and I have to, if I agree with what has been said, then I'm not going to contribute to the discussion. Very few people who sit and listen, because when you listen, you learn something. You may disagree with some of what you hear, but you will hear something perhaps for the first time. You'll be reminded of something. Maybe you can connect the dots in your mind. That's why we have 2 ears and 1 tongue, right? That's why, because we need to listen more. But what happens is the 1 tongue beats the 2 ears. Because it's a desire. Like sexual desire we talked about, and the food desire we talked about, right? This desire also needs discipline. To speak only when you have something to say, or when you have to speak, or when you are asked to speak. One wise person has been asked, when should I speak? He said, when you desire to remain silent. And he said, the student asked, so when I should remain silent? He said, when you desire to speak. You understand? So if you have the desire to speak, it's better to remain silent. Because if you speak out of desire, it's not speaking out of hikmah, necessity. Giving guidance or giving something significant. When we speak for desire, that's the niyyah is not for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's just for sure. And this is exactly what Imam Ghazali used to do. He was very arrogant. He beat all other scholars in debates and theology and law and philosophy and things. And he found out that I'm doing this for my sake, for my glory, for myself. And we mentioned the story, then he stayed out in solitary and thinking about what am I doing, so on. So we don't have to speak because everybody is speaking, and we have to say something just for people to know that I'm smart and things like this. Very few people can do this. So that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam talked about these 3 desires in one hadith. Man wuqiya sharra, those who are protected from the evil of their stomach or belly and their tongue and their private parts, you are protected from the evil of these 3 things. Then you are protected from all kinds of evil. In the other hadith, the Rasulullah ﷺ guarantees Jannah to those who can guarantee. Man yadmanu li ma bayna lihyayhi wa ma bayna fakhidayhi admanu lahu al-jannah. If you can guarantee what's between your cheeks and between your thighs, then the Prophet said, I will guarantee Jannah for you. Just protect these 2 things, I guarantee you Jannah. And talking specifically about the tongue, the danger of the tongue. Mu'adh ibn Jabal. Mu'adh ibn Jabal is I think we don't talk too much about Mu'adh ibn Jabal. وأعلم أمتي بالحلال والحرام. معاذ بن Jabal. The most knowledgeable person about halal and haram is Mu'adh. So when he sent Mu'adh to be the judge for Yemen, Yemen is a huge place, an origin of Arabs. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud used to say, you know the ayah we recited last night in Surah Al-Nahl, Inna Ibrahim kana ummatan. Inna Ibrahim kana ummatan qanitan lillahi hanifan wa lam yakun min al-mushrikeen. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud used to say, Inna Mu'adh ibn Jabal ummatan qanitan lillahi hanifan wa lam yakun min al-mushrikeen. And someone thought he made a mistake. He said, no, I did not make a mistake. Rasulullah, Mu'adh ibn Jabal, Ummah, Ibrahim kan Ummah. The word Ummah is given to the person who teach people good. You will teach people good things. Spread knowledge. That's Ummah. The Imam and Ummah, the one who teaches people. So Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said that applies to Mu'adh ibn Jabal. Inna Mu'adh ibn Jabal kana ummatan. Because he has a lot of knowledge. And he uses it. And wherever he goes, he spread this knowledge everywhere. So he's Ummah. قانتا لله, obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. حنيفا وما كان من المشركين. This applies to Mu'adh himself. Mu'adh ibn Jabal, despite all this knowledge, hikmah, wisdom, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, أمسك عليك هذا, hold this. He said, Ya Rasulullah, are we going to be held accountable for what we say? Just words. And Rasulullah said, ثَكِلَتْكَ أُمُّكَ يَا مُعَاذ. ثَكِلَتْكَ أُمُّكَ is an expression of wondering about something, or being to express your amazement of something. ثَكِلَتْكَ أُمُّكَ. It's an expression as dua, but it's not dua against him. It is just expressing that you are so surprised. ثَكِلَتْكَ أُمُّكَ. وَهَلْ يَكُبُّ النَّاسَ فِي النَّارِ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ إِلَّا حَصَائِدُ أَلْسِنَتِهِمْ. Is there anything that caused people to be thrown in the hellfire other than their tongue? So Mu'adh ibn Jabal, despite his knowledge and hikmah, he thought that what we do matters, not what we say. But in reality, the word can be extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. And now we are living in the world of the fake news. Right? Most of things around us are fake. Right? So the word is very وضرب الله مثلا كلمة طيبة كشجرة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفرعها في السماء. Surah Ibrahim, Allah gave the example of the good word. That beautiful tree has deep root. Right? وفرعها في السماء, so high. Its branches in the sky. It's almost السماء. The word السماء. This, how deeply rooted it is and how big and high it is. تؤتي أكلها كل حين بإذن ربها. It continues to produce fruits all the time. For the kalima طيبة, it stays in the heart and the mind. You can change the heart and the mind of many people by just good word. ومثل كلمة خبيثة كشجرة خبيثة. It's like an evil tree. اجتثت من فوق الأرض. Not قطعت, اجتثت. Nothing appears from it. It's being cut off. من فوق الأرض. Nobody can tell there was a tree here before. ما لها من قرار. Has no قرار. Right? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us against it, because think about it. How many, just to understand the danger and the seriousness of saying a word. Kufr and Iman is a word, right? How do we know if someone is Muslim? When he says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan. It's a word. What are the consequences of this word? At least for us as a community. We don't know whether this person is truthful or lying. We don't know. That's why Rasulullah ﷺ said that we don't open up the hearts of the people to know whether they are truthful or not. We don't do that. When someone says, Ashhadu, many munafiqeen did this. But for us as Muslims, when someone says the word or the kalima, then we accept him or her as a member of the community. Then can they marry? Yes, they can marry Muslims. And inherit? Yes, they can inherit. And so many things will come as a result of this. And the opposite is true. Kufr is a word. When someone can say a word of kufr. يحلفون بالله ما قالوا ولقد قالوا كلمة الكفر وكفروا بعد إسلامهم. The Munafiqeen said, I did not say it. When the Munafiq says, when we go back to Medina, I will, that the most honored will expel the most humiliated. He's talking about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Allah called this kalimat al-kufr. And this kalima, when you say this about Rasulullah, you're out. That's the word of kufr. وإن الرجل لا يتكلم بالكلمة من سخط الله لا يلقي لها بالا تهوي به في النار 70 خريفا. A person may say a word that angers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He does not care about it. It's just a word. And that's why we have to be very careful when we make jokes. Sometimes we make wrong jokes. We cannot joke when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger and His Quran. We have to really, avoid any jokes in this area. Because the Munafiqeen used to say stuff like this, and وَلَئِنْ سَأَلْتَهُمْ لَيَقُولُنَّ إِنَّمَا كُنَّا نَخُوضُ وَنَلْعَبُ. When we asked them, why did you say that? Did you say that? We were just joking. نَخُوضُ وَنَلْعَبُ قُلْ أَبِاللَّهِ وَآيَاتِهِ وَرَسُولِهِ كُنْتُمْ تَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. You don't find anything to make fun of except Allah and His ayat and His Messenger. لا تعتذروا قد كفرتم بعد إيمانكم. Marriage and divorce, it's a word, right? What makes a relationship halal? It's a word, right? The marriage contract is a word. I accept, you as my husband, or I accept you as my wife. Allah said become husband and wife. Of course, with shuhud and all these other conditions, but it's an expression of the intention. So the word must be. So what if someone cannot speak? Then somebody you're right or not, and someone asks you want to marry her or you want to accept him, yes, and then they can express a right. That's it. It's a word. Divorce is a word. Divorce is a word. So that's why it is extremely important for us to understand the significance of the word. We don't want to take it very lightly. Some of the tabi'in used to write everything he says, as much as he can. Always write what he says, and at the end of the day he looks at what they say wrong, what they say wrong. I shouldn't have said this. I could have lived without saying this. Now we have these, smartphones that can record our tone. Try it for an hour or for 2 hours. Just record what you say. Especially in the time of weddings and vacations and social gatherings. For your own practice, you will see that there's so many things that are inappropriate, inaccurate. I shouldn't have said it. We don't do this, but someone else does for us. These angels who write down everything. And the ulama said, do they write everything? Or they just write the words upon which there will be reward or punishment. And when someone says, for example, we talk about a game, they talk about, cars and prices of electronics. That's not halal, it's not haram, there's no reward punishment, right? Do the angels write these things? The ayah said, مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ any qawl. That's al-umum, right? Al-umum means anything you say. It will be written, and then on the day of judgment you'll see every single word that you said, including these talks that's not useful or harmful. Other ulama, rahimahullah, they said no, anything that has to do with hasanat or sayyat only will be written, right? They call it al-umum al-urfi. Al-umum al-urfi means that the ayah means ما يلفظ من قول أي من قول له علاقة بالحسنات والسيئات, right? يكتب. But القول that has nothing to do with حسنات or سيئات, it's not written. Anyways, we will be responsible for what we say. We will be responsible for what we say. A man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam telling him, يا رسول الله أخبرني عن الإسلام بأمر لا أسأل عنه أحدا بعدك. Tell me something in Islam that I don't need to ask anyone after you. قال قل آمنت بالله ثم استقم. Say, I believe in Allah and stay fast. Look at this beautiful hikmah. You're asking someone, someone asking you to tell me something that I hold fast to, something that will benefit me, that I don't have to ask anybody else. Simple. Say, I believe in Allah and try to stay fast. Sirat al-mustaqim, istaqim, istiqama. And beautiful 2 words. This is the way for salvation. This is the way for our success. قال فما أتقي? What should I be aware of? He said this. In the time of fitna, in the time of turmoil, in the time of wonders, so people don't know who is right and who is wrong and what should be done and who did what and who said what. That's the time also when you need to practice this high level of hikmah, listening and not talk until there's a need. My brother Dawood Walid, may Allah bless him, last Friday, he gave a wonderful khutbah when he said, talked about backbiting and talked about others. And he said in the American lexicon, it's juicy when people talk about scandals of something happened or people talk about some people, oh, this is juicy talk. I said, that's not juicy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, it is as if, I don't know if we thought about this or not. Imagine how many times you attended funeral prayer. Did you attend funeral prayer before? Right? In this masjid and other masajid? Just think about it. When you bring the body for the janazah and someone gets a knife and cut the dead body and start chewing it, eating it. Imagine if this happens, how awful it is. Right? This is what the Quran says. أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَنْ يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيْتًا فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. To eat the flesh of your brother, dead body of your brother. It's bad and awful, and we all take it very lightly and we get involved in this. That's why we have to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for things that we did, or sometimes we know what kind of sins we did, and sometimes we do a lot of sins but we don't even pay attention to it. And that's very dangerous. Why? Because there's no break for this tongue. This tongue continues to speak and speak and speak. Right? And in al-hikmah, من كثر كلامه كثر سقطه. من كثر كلامه كثر سقطه. The more you speak, the more mistakes you make. Right? That's why, again, go back to the first hadith you mentioned, من صمت نجا. Memorize this hadith. من صمت نجا. The more we speak, more likely we'll have mistakes. That's why خير الكلام ما قل ودل. Have you heard this hikmah before? It's very well known in Arabic literature. خير الكلام, the best of all speech, ما قل, قل means short, ودل, دل دليل or دلالة يعني guidance. خير الكلام ما قل ودل. Easy to memorize, right? خير الكلام ما قل ودل. وكثرة الكلام ينسي بعضه بعضا. Right? When we speak so much, then we forget what has been said. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam really, the more you study his few words, and it gives tons of meanings. That's a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's giving to very few. وَأُتِيتُ جَوَامِعَ الْكَلِمِ صلى الله عليه وسلم. And because of that, I will stop here. I don't want to make it so long so you forgot what I mentioned there. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله العظيم ولكم فاستغفروه وتوبوا إليه. Questions or comments?
When something scandalous appears in newspaper or in the news about a public figure, and people talk about it at work or maybe at some gathering, so would that constitute backbiting as well?
Yes, because brother is asking about when there's a news about public figures, scandals and stuff like this. In Islam and in any modern legal system, everyone is innocent until he's proven guilty, right? So when you have this news, do you know is innocent or guilty? No, it's not my business. I'm not a detective. I'm not, part of this process. Let it go to the court, and let the court investigate, and then make a decision. If he did something wrong, he should be punished. Absolutely. Especially if it's a public figure, because the public figure should actually be punished more, because they betrayed the amana, right? They should be made as an example. But if he's innocent, this is exactly what happened to Aisha. We talked about this before. Many people, including some Sahaba, males and females, they were talking negatively about Aisha. It's as if it was a fact. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about her innocence, and then these people regret it, and then some of them have been punished. So when people ask about these things, I say, I don't know. What should I speak about something that I didn't know anything about? If I was in his position and people speaking negatively about me, and Allah knows I'm innocent, it would be very harmful to me to hear people talking negatively about me and believe these accusations. So they say that when you receive this, let it die at your ears. But don't take it by your ear and spread it with your tongue. Don't be part of, this fire. Let it die at you. If everybody did this, khalas, the wildfire is not going to expand. We don't know. Simply we don't know. Al-Quran gave us a clear guidance. ولولا إذ سمعتموه ظن المؤمنون والمؤمنات بأنفسهم خيرا. When someone comes to you and says, oh, brother so-and-so prays in the first row, or so-and-so the imam, so-and-so the scholar, so-and-so, the first thing we should do, we have to have husn al-dhan. Says, wallahi, I don't know anything except good things. I don't think he would do this. If it's proven guilty, then it's a different story. Then he should get the punishment that he deserves from the legitimate authority. But until this happens, I think that he is a good person. I would consider him to be innocent until proven otherwise. But I'm not going to talk about this. I did not like when brother, came to me. Do you know what happened? This brother have done this and that. I wish he didn't tell me. I didn't know. I don't want to know. I don't want to go and Google and investigate and see. It could be right, could be wrong. If it is right, cover these things. Well, why we like to spread these things? If someone has a complaint, they go and complain to get their right to the right channel. Right? But we should not be part of this. Just stay away from it. And if everybody did this, then it will die in its beginning. Wallahu a'lam. And it's not true, by the way, it's only women who always misuse their tongue. We don't have any statistics to prove this. Okay, it could be an observation. Because this is a perception. It's only women who talk, keep talking and talk about others. You agree with me on this or not? It is true. I mean, men also do that. Any gathering. And it is our duty, in fact, when you are in a meeting or a gathering and people start speaking negative about someone, remind them. Dear brothers, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This person is not here, cannot defend himself. It's better not to talk about anybody who is not here. Let's talk about different things. You are protecting the dignity and the honor of your brother, and the same thing will happen to you. When someone speaks negative about you, you will find someone to defend you. We need to defend each other. Unless the person is there, he can talk, defend himself. Don't be shy. They're brothers, and believe me, everybody will say, yeah, you're right. Nobody will argue, because everybody knows it's wrong. It takes someone with some courage. So brothers, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't want to talk about people who are not here. Let's talk about something else. And they insisted, leave them. Said, I cannot stay in this majlis. You are eating a dead body. I cannot stay with you. If they get upset, let them get upset. But they learn. They need someone to remind them. Allahu A'lam.
On the same line, right? When the listening becomes a haram,
Excuse me?
When the listening becomes a haram,
Yeah, if you can't stop it, then you have to stop it. As Rasulullah said, when you see evil, stop it with your hand. If you cannot, then with your tongue. It's evil, it's haram, it's bad. So use your tongue and say, brothers, but if you see something wrong and you don't do anything about it, if you can't speak, then you must speak. What will happen? We're not going to have your dinner that night, so what? So, your question was?
My question is more like, you have talked about the talking too much is haram, right? It's not good. At the same time, listening, right?
Listening, right?
Listening, when that becomes haram.
Listening to haram. Yeah, I mean, listening, if you're الذين يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about the muttaqeen, those who listen, but they follow the best of what they hear. So you will be hearing, if you are in a meeting and you hear people speaking wrong, then if you can change it, change it. If you can stop it, stop it. But listening, it's as if you're approving. It's as if you're approving what has been said. Your silence is a tacit approval. You understand? So as we do with our children, if one of our children said a bad word, we're not going to remain silent. Would you? You have to discipline. Don't say this word. This word is very inappropriate. Never say it again. Then you have to speak. You cannot let go. It's the time to change it. Allahu A'lam. Then Imam Ghazali, inshallah, in the coming weeks, he will speak in some detail about these al-afat, or the disease, as he said. What are these things? He said, al-kalamu fima la yu'nik. Al-kalamu fima la yu'nik. Speak about something that's not of your business, as we say in English. And then he will talk about the second, will talk about 20 kind of mistakes we make with our tongue, including lying, backbiting, smearing, cursing, self-praise yourself, and put down others down, and all these kind of things, 20 of them. We'll try to cover as many of them as we can, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون. وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.